Alan. Thanks
Hi,
for
Dani.
doing this event. Thank you to the Backstage Theatre who are sponsoring this episode as part of the live network of venues, literature and venues, experiences, experiments, events. So we are doing the series at the moment with a number of authors, and the first is Alan McMonagle. Alan, welcome.
Hi, Dani. Thanks very much for hosting me and having me. Thanks to the Backstage also.
No worries. I'm here in virtual Noctons, Alan. I have my G&T. What do you have there?
Irish coffee. Might lie, but...
I see pages on the wall there, Alan, behind you. What is that?
Well, this space that I'm in was up in a heap until very recently. So, needs must, and recent ongoing developments have prompted me to clear it out a little bit. But I still have left some early draft pages from an early draft of Laura Cassidy. So somebody spotted them and suggested that I leave them up, and perhaps I will for a little while.
Yeah, brilliant. Writer's Den. Great. Okay, well, I know you're going to start with a reading from the book. So this is your novel, Laura Cassidy's Walk to Fame, published by Picador.
Thanks a lot. What I thought I might do is to provide a flavour of Laura and her voice. Initially as a young girl, she... for the bulk of the novel, she's a young woman, early adulthood, mid-20s, and she has this dream to be a star. And the opening chapter is Laura reflecting on a moment in early childhood when this dream, if you like, is planted inside her. So I thought it might be nice just to maybe offer a few pages from the get-go, just so we'll see Laura with her father and the, if you like, the seed being planted. So from the get-go then. Someday you're going to be a star. Your name is going to be written in bright and dancing lights. Mark my words, Daddy said. People will see your face and smile. Speak memorable lines from the movies you appear in. A legend in your time, that's what you will be, Daddy said, and I was happy to hear him say it. At that hour, it was just the two of us. We had just finished watching the late-night movie together, and Daddy was keen to hear my thoughts. I wasn't slow giving him my verdicts. Sunset Boulevard, best movie ever. When I grow up, I'm going to be Norma Desmond. The Big Sleep. Don't ask me what was going on, but I loved it. The postman always rings twice. Great story. But no way would I end up in a jam like that. In a lonely place. Gloria Graham. So good. I lost count of how many movies Daddy and me watched. Mother and Jennifer and everyone else on the street were in bed. And I only wanted to watch them with him. And with the lights out. That way no one could interrupt us with stupid questions like, what's with the mysterious woman? Or why is that fellow so obsessed? Or could they switch the channel because they were fed up? I never got fed up. Damsels in distress movies with moody strangers who came to the rescue. Dark and grainy and hard to figure out what was happening movies with men that were all the time looking for something. Women that were too good to be true. And storylines that would bring them fleetingly together before they were ripped apart from each other forever. Film noirs, Daddy called those ones. They Live by Night, Kiss Tomorrow Goodbye, The Asphalt Jungle, Laura. I wasn't long getting my own set pieces going. Encore, encore, Daddy bellowed every time I did my finish up bow and curtsy. And Daddy was the last person I was going to disappoint. And so I did my little acts all over again, start to finish, tweaking them here and there for extra effect. And he was off. Stardom, shining lights, my name along the Walk of Fame. He asked me, did I know what the Walk of Fame was? And I shook my head, and he smiled and cleared his throat and told me all about the famous boulevard in Hollywood and the 2,500 stars along it, every one of them named after someone from the world of movies. It goes on for over a mile, and everyone you can think of is there. Marilyn Monroe is there, and Marlene Dietrich, Joan Crawford, she's there, and so is Betty Davis, and Greta Garbo, the greatest of them all. And when the chime comes, you'll be next. They are going to put your name on a star for everyone to see. And do you know what that means, he asked. And again I shook my head. Immortality, Daddy said, with a quiver in his voice. That's what it means. Then he hauled me outside the front door of our house, not stopping until we had crossed the road, past the boathouse, and were standing side by side in the chill of night on Nimmo's pier. Look, he said, hunkering down beside me and pointing to the blurry lights along the pier. Can you see it? Hollywood, starry lights, the Walk of Fame. Just you wait, Laura. One day it will be your turn, he said. Then he stretched out his arm, and with the penknife fetched out of his pocket, he scratched into the pier wall the words, "A star is born." I wasn't going to disagree with him, and I could see it, could see myself up there on the silver screen, effortlessly jousting with my co-stars, moving with serene calm through my scenes, gliding with slick abandon into my close-up. Come opening night, I saw myself taking to the red carpet. The snap-happy photographers, the screaming fans, the journalists shoving their mics in my face, eager for my words. Come awards season, I heard my name called out at every prize giving in the land. At parties, I was an extraordinary person, brilliant and illuminating. Wherever I went, everybody wanted a piece of me. They couldn't wait to announce my name. From an early age, that was me then, Laura Cassidy, the movie world's leading light, star of the silver screen. Isn't that right, Laura? Yes, it is, Laura. Indeed it is.
That opening, Alan, and the relationship, I suppose, with Laura and her father, and I suppose the poignancy that plays out in the book as we start to kind of understand better that key relationship and kind of where, as you say, this seed is sown for her and this dream she has of, you know, becoming this Hollywood actress. With the book, was it Laura's voice that you could hear kind of in the beginning with the genesis of this story, or where did that kind of come together with kind of this idea of the movie star dream? Where did that begin?
Yeah, it definitely began as just a voice. I mean, even at that stage early on, you know, it was a disembodied voice. I had no idea who it was, you know, man, woman, boy, child, where it was coming from. But gradually it acquired flesh and blood, and lo and behold, I had a young woman, mid-20s, living in a west of Ireland big town, small city, and she had a dream that had been planted inside her by her father. And from the get-go, she is, you know, steadfast in her belief, certain in her belief that this dream to become a Hollywood star is her destiny, and she is going to do what it takes to try and fulfill this dream, and she's going to pursue it from quite an early stage.
She is, I mean, she really is a dreamer and a kind of a fantasist. And I know later in the book, then her sister Jennifer kind of comes in, and they have this sort of, you know, rivalry, but they're both dreamers really, but in different kind of ways, you know. So I suppose Jennifer, was she kind of the foil then to the character of Laura as that idealist, but different idealist?
Yeah, no, they're really good observations. I mean, Laura obviously is a dreamer, But Jennifer also, I mean, Laura is a dreamer to the extent that it's very much aspirational initially, but it becomes increasingly desperate and increasingly delusional. But likewise, as you've very incisively observed, when Jennifer arrives home, ostensibly she's arrived home from various parts of the world where she is quote unquote, rescuing places. But I think there is a strong suggestion, and I think Laura is onto this. She's very suspicious of her sister, that things are not quite as they seem with Jennifer as well. And to a certain extent, she is finding difficulties, I suppose, getting through the days of her life. And I think in a way that's what the novel becomes. I mean, I often think that there is a gap between where a person is and where a person wants to be.
I was curious, one of the things that would be very noticeable in the book, I suppose, is Tennessee Williams and Streetcar, and this reference and her desire to be in this theatre production, which forms, a lot of the narrative. And where did the Tennessee Williams come in, Alan? Like, there's a lot of movie references, obviously, and then kind of the American playwrights, and obviously there's an obvious allegory between Blanche Dubois, who she wants to play, and that actual story. And again, without giving spoilers, but you definitely used that story as a part of the backbone of the book. Was that an early kind of a choice, or was that something that came in more with the character development?
I think a combination of both. It would have been a natural choice for me because as a writer and an author, I have a great appreciation for the works of Tennessee Williams, in particular Streetcar. I'd love to have seen the stage version of it way back, probably in the 1940s. But at least we do have the movie version with Marlon Brando. But I did see a wonderful production of it in the Gay Theatre in Dublin a couple of years ago. You see, I always thought, and I think Tennessee Williams would have thought as well, that play, it's really about the two sisters. But you see, because Brando is so good in the film, he sort of voiced himself and the character Stanley Kowalski to the extent that he's almost taking over. But I always, I always very much related to the two sisters in it, Stella and as well as Blanche. And Blanche, for all her flaws, I mean, she's a broken person, and she's very vulnerable. I mean, she's well able to, be economical with the truth, shall we say? But that's, it's part of this fragility that she comes with. And I think that Laura as a character would recognise something in that.
Alan, thanks, and Mona on the backstage, thank you for sponsoring this episode.
Thanks a lot, guys.